What? Alexandro asked, visibly tense. The dress, Chloe said, uncertain. I asked if you wanted to wear it. Alexandro stared at her, confused. When someone offers clothing, they usually expect a yes or maybe a request to try it on, but she had just asked plainly as if it were nothing. What did she mean by that? What do you mean? He asked again, tension still in his voice. What made you think of that? He added, trying to understand her reasoning. Before Chloe could respond, a small boy tripped nearby, his cry drawing her attention. She hurried over and crouched beside him. Are you okay, kid? She asked gently. Yeah, I'm okay, he replied quickly. Chloe noticed the scrape on his knee. You're bleeding, she said with concern. The boy sniffled but insisted. I'm fine. She examined the wound more closely. It's deeper than I thought. We need to stop the bleeding. Turning to Alexandro, she said, It'd be better if we had some ointment. Her tone was calm but firm. He nodded and gave a faint smile. Soon after, Chloe finished wrapping the wound with a strip of cloth. All done. But don't run around too much. Be careful next time. The boy nodded and scampered off, waving as he left. Alexandro watched him, his expression clouded. Something felt off. Was the child just careless, or was there something more? Later that evening, they returned to the estate. Chloe noticed his silence. Why hasn't he said anything since earlier? She wondered. Is it because we used money for ointment and bandages? He never complained when it was for gambling. Suddenly, Alexandro broke the silence. Tell Evan I won't have dinner tonight. His words made Chloe flinch. Then, are you eating separately? She asked. No, it's getting late. You can go rest, he replied, walking ahead. She hesitated. Archduke? She called after him. Where are you going? But he was already walking into the woods. What's going on? She thought, confused. Alexandro soon arrived at Chris Senlo's cabin. You've arrived, my lord, Chris said cheerfully. Alexandro ran a hand over his face. Bring Xanthos to me. Right away, Chris said, hurrying off. Alone, Alexandro's expression tensed. I must be losing it, he thought. I imagined her as the mother of a child who looked like her, and I can't stop thinking about it. The thought lingered. If I had a daughter who looked like her, would that be strange? She'd be kind and bright, just like Chloe. He sighed. I don't even have the courage to sleep in the same room tonight. Meanwhile, in his chambers, Chloe tidied his bedding. I already informed the general. Should I start cleaning his room now? She wondered. Then her eyes caught something unusual near his pillow. She reached for it. This isn't something a man like him would carry, she thought, picking it up. It looks too luxurious. Did he hide it for someone else? Lady Bandora's face flashed in her mind. Could it be hers? But when she opened the box, her eyes widened. The rose pin, the one from the festival. It was the canary flower accessory she had admired at the vendor's stall. Why does he have this? She whispered. That night, Alexandro bathed in the lake, trying to calm his mind. Why can't I stop thinking about her? Am I losing my grip? The next morning, Chris noticed something was off. Your Highness, are you feeling worn out? He asked. Alexandro scoffed. If you're tired, it's due to your lack of stamina, Chris. Chris didn't back down. Not physically, I mean emotionally. You seem weighed down. Alexandro frowned. What are you implying? Chris smirked. You can fool everyone else, but not me. He recalled how Alexandro always opened the door when Chloe visited the barracks, how he softened when she was near. You're gentle with everyone, except her. Alexandro's face darkened. Enough. Let's go back. Now? Chris asked, caught off guard as Alexandro walked ahead. Trying to keep up, Chris wondered, he really doesn't know how to handle love. What'll happen when she realizes how he feels? And Alexandro, walking in silence, thought, what will she do when she finds out? At the castle, Chloe quietly cleaned Alexandro's room. Her eyes drifted to the flower case still resting on the table. It's still here, she thought, pausing mid-sweep. Why did he buy this? And why did he ask about the dress that day? She picked up the case, examining it. Could this be the Archduke's preference? Just then, the door opened. Startled, she quickly hid the case behind her back. You've arrived, Archduke, she said, tense. Without noticing her reaction, Alexandro spoke firmly. Don't talk to Chris anymore. Don't get involved with him. He has a heart condition. What? Did something happen? she asked, confused, sliding the case back beneath his pillow. It's just a headache, he muttered, clearly evading the question. Sitting down with a clenched jaw, Alexandro exhaled sharply. Chris? That punk. I should have shut his mouth back then. Chloe stepped forward, trying to ease the tension. Would you like me to bring scented candles? The ones with herbs. They're good for headaches. Aaron used to like them too. He scoffed. Candles? Aren't those for women? Not the floral ones. These are made with herbs, she said gently. They help calm the nerves. Did you prepare Aaron's bath too? He asked, suddenly rising. Oh, yes, she replied quietly. A sharp sensation twisted in his chest. Even Aaron made her prepare his bath? Is that why she doesn't react when she sees me? Because she's used to it? He clenched his jaw again, unsettled. That night, they sat in silence, he reading, she writing in her journal. But his focus drifted. It's not her fault. So why do I feel like this? Why does it burn inside me? With a frustrated sigh, he snapped his book shut and pulled at his shirt. Chloe turned to him calmly. Do you have something to say? She asked softly. He studied her face, conflicted. Is my body reacting? He looked away. I'll go to bed. You can rest too, he said quietly, walking off. Later that night, Alexandro lay awake. His thoughts circled. I want to hold her. I want to kiss her. He shook his head, forcing the feeling away. The next day marked their departure. It's a pity we have to part ways already, the Duke said, noticing the fatigue in Alexandro's face. Don't mind me, Alexandro replied faintly. What's next on your itinerary? The Duke asked as they shook hands. I'll stop by a few smaller estates before heading to the capital. Have you heard about the McCowell estate? The Duke asked. Alexandro flinched slightly, the atmosphere tensed. What's going on? Chloe wondered, watching them. It belongs to Hamel and Henor now. We're not going, Alexandro said, his voice flat. The Duke remained composed. Why not? It's been years since you've seen your mother's estate. It might do you good. Alexandro didn't respond immediately. The truth is heavy, he murmured. Believe what you will. Don't you want to know more about your past? The Duke pressed. Alexandro looked away, solemn. If I have time, I'll go, he replied softly. The Duke placed a hand on his shoulder. That's the answer I expected. Don't fear the truth. You're stronger than you think, Alexandro. As the caravan moved again, Trigger scoffed while walking beside Chloe. The nerve, mentioning the McCowell family. Even as his former teacher, that was bold. Why? Chloe asked. You really don't know. The late head of the house, Sophia McCowell, was the Archduke's mother. She was executed for treason. Chloe's eyes widened. Treason? That can't be true. She looked ahead at Alexandro on horseback. He seems so strong, but I never imagined that kind of past. How old is he now? She asked. Probably 25 this year. He's younger than me? She whispered in disbelief. He's so composed. Trigger shrugged. That's family history, but be careful. Household work is demanding. Don't ever make a mistake in front of him. Chloe didn't respond, but inside, her thoughts stirred. I wonder how painful it must be to carry a family history like that. He never even judged me for my past. He deserves respect, no matter his age. That night, after finishing his training session, sweat glistened on Alessandro's brow. Archduke, here, Chloe said, handing him a cloth. He accepted it with a nod. Thanks. She watched him briefly. Despite the intensity of his training, he showed no signs of exhaustion. His strength was impressive. You must be tired. Let's head back, he said. Oh, I'm all right. Please don't mind me, she replied, prompting a faint smile from him. I was actually saying I'm tired, he corrected himself with a quiet chuckle. I misspoke. She blushed slightly. Though all he had done was train, the softness in his tone caught her off guard. It was surprisingly gentle for someone like him. I wonder who'll be the one to receive his love? He's calm, strong, and still so kind, she thought, smiling. Breaking the silence, he asked, What were you talking about with the attendant earlier? You mean Thomas? We were just discussing the ceremony, she replied, recalling the conversation. I asked when the ceremony might end, and he said it'll likely be after visiting the estate in the capital. That's what Trigger mentioned to him before leaving, she added. Alessandro's expression shifted. Since when do you know Trigger? She hesitated. Well, when was it? It was when we went to the Nalswan Mountains to get the antidote for your horse, she said, remembering that earlier encounter. She let out a small laugh at the memory of Trigger's surprised expression when they first met. Looking back, I'm grateful for that experience, she thought. It's been a while, she finally said. Alessandro clenched his fist slightly, suppressing whatever emotion rose up as they walked back toward camp. Before they could say more, they arrived. He paused, then turned to her with a serious look. Do you like him? What? She blinked, startled. What is he asking? Wait, does he think I like Trigger? The question caught her off guard. That reaction, am I right? He asked. No, she quickly said, shaking her head. Trigger is a good person, but I've never seen him that way. His eyes searched hers. Really? Chloe's mind drifted for a moment, recalling a book she once read, a story about the son of a noble and the chief knight. Maybe he was anxious when I got closer to Trigger. I hope they both find happiness in their own way, she thought. I'm hoping for the happiness of both of us, she said, smiling. Alessandro looked puzzled. Both of us? You mean me and Trigger? She took a breath. There's something I want to tell you. I think you're someone worthy of respect. He watched her silently. Everyone has things they keep to themselves, right? His brow furrowed. What are you talking about? He asked, confused. He dropped the towel from his hand as he instinctively held her shoulder, surprising her. Chloe smiled softly. Don't worry. I won't tell anyone. What? He asked, unsure what she meant. You prefer men over women, right? She said gently. His breath caught for a moment. He remembered her earlier question about Lady Bandora's and the misunderstanding that followed. He sighed. So that's what she thinks. It all makes sense now. He smirked slightly to himself. She's completely misunderstood. Archduke? Chloe asked, confused by his expression. He never cared for rumors. It was easier to let people assume what they wanted than to explain things he didn't care to discuss. It saved time. But now, seeing her reaction, he felt unexpectedly amused. She's so certain. But why? He wondered. His tone lowered. Do you want to know? Pardon? What do you mean? She asked, tilting her head. Without thinking, he stepped forward and gently lifted her. What is my preference, then? He asked quietly. She gasped, surprised by how close he was. As their eyes met, he paused, taken aback by her expression. Was she always this beautiful? He thought. Before he realized it, he leaned in and kissed her. It was quiet. Both of them froze, surprised by the moment. He kissed me? She thought. It feels different from Gilbert. Not forceful, more like a quiet connection. As they remained close, the sound of distant voices reached her ears. She tried to pull away. Archduke, someone might see us. But he didn't let go. His focus remained on her, on the stillness around them, and the way his heart pounded as he kissed her again. The next morning, Chloe jolted awake. She glanced around the room, exhaling softly. He must have gone out for training again, she thought. Still, how could I sleep after what happened last night? She reached up and gently touched her lips, her thoughts drifting back to the kiss. Was it a dream? No. It felt too real, too vivid. If someone saw us, she thought, eyes widening with panic, the Archduke would be fine. But she'd be shamed, pointed at, whispered about. Just like before, just like Heidi, just like Ike. Her hands clenched at the memory, the harsh stares, the cruel sermons, the silence that screamed louder than words. Get a grip, Chloe, she murmured. The Archduke was just toying with me. I'm just a maid. It had been 6 months since the ceremony, but the bias against slaves hadn't vanished. Even so, people like Trigger and Thomas made life bearable. They treated her kindly, like a person. I can't dwell on this. Better to just focus on work, she thought, rising from her bed. As she made her way to the exit, the tent flap opened, and Alessandro stepped inside. Startled, she lost her footing. Just as she was about to fall, he caught her by the waist. Their eyes met. Her face flushed. Are you okay? He asked, tense. I'll bring your breakfast, she stammered, breaking free and rushing out. Alessandro exhaled deeply as he watched her flee. We're back to square one. 1 week later. Chloe moved quietly as she tidied the tent, keeping her gaze low. She had gone out of her way to avoid the Archduke all week. If there are no other orders, may I step outside for a moment? She asked. Alessandro looked at her with a knowing expression. Go ahead. Outside, Chloe let out a long breath. At least no one saw what happened that night. I need to keep it that way. No drama, no trouble, just avoid him. From a short distance away, Chris approached. Hey, Chloe, he called casually. Why have you been avoiding the Archduke lately? She froze. You used to be around him all the time. Now you act like you don't even want to make eye contact, he added. I was just helping out more at the campsite, she said, forcing a calm tone. Did it look like we were too close? Chris smirked, stepping a bit closer. Exactly. If you want to avoid him so badly, just tell him to get his own meals. Her fingers tightened. If I can't do even that much, what's the point of being his maid? Chris chuckled. You think he brought you here because he needs a maid? She didn't respond. But deep down, she knew he was right. The Archduke rarely needed help. Except for meals, he managed everything himself. Howell was already healed. There was no practical reason for her to still be at his side. Her heart pounded. Then why keep me around? Chris tilted his head. Maybe it's because you're always clueless? What's that supposed to? That's your charm, he cut in, grinning. Well, as a maid, I mean. She stared at him, puzzled. Being clueless is a charm? Chris just laughed. Don't think too hard about it. Anyway, I've got to go. Vice Captain's waiting. As he left, Chloe watched him, frowning. He's teasing again. But his parting words echoed in her mind. Girls have been chasing him for years, and that's his type? Chris thought, glancing back briefly. Later that day, Alessandro sat alone in his quarters, deep in thought. If I had known Chloe would avoid me like this, maybe I wouldn't have acted on impulse. He sighed. No, that's a lie. I don't regret it. Not for a second. That kiss, unlike anything before, it hadn't been casual. It felt soft, pure, like something he never knew he needed. It was the loveliest thing I've ever known. He shut his eyes, remembering her hesitation. She didn't push me away, but she didn't exactly welcome it either. What if she keeps avoiding me? What if she never looks at me like that again? At the McDowell mansion. Alessandro stood in the grand hall as the Duke of McDowell bowed deeply. Your visit honors us, Archduke. I apologize for the rushed preparations, but we'll serve you and your knights to the best of our ability. We'll be in your care, Duke. Alessandro replied politely, his gaze scanning the familiar corridors. Trigger leaned closer to Chloe, whispering, So he's still living here. After everything that happened over a decade ago, doesn't he feel uneasy? Chloe didn't respond right away. She stared at the castle's opulence. Why would a family with so much wealth commit treason? As Alessandro stood silently, the past seemed to wrap around him like a shadow. Chloe looked at him quietly. If I were part of this family, if I stayed by his side, would I have spent my whole life with him? There was still so much she didn't understand. Just what's the story behind all of this? Alessandro and Chloe stepped into his chambers. I'll stand guard by the bedroom door while you rest, she said quietly. He glanced back at her, surprised. She's not even a gatekeeper. Is she that uncomfortable sharing a room with me? You don't have to do that, he said gently. But what if a stranger sneaks in? She replied, eyes full of concern. You can wait somewhere comfortable, and if I'm ever away, feel free to visit the nearby hills. Georges will be waiting for your letters, he added. Oh, all right. Thank you, she said quickly, bowing slightly. As he walked down the hall, Alessandro's thoughts spiraled. Should I apologize for that kiss? But if I bring it up, she might just avoid me again. I'm such a coward. The next day, in the forest, Chloe and Trigger walked among the trees. Trigger stopped near a strange mushroom. What's this? Looks pretty unique, he said, reaching for it. Wait, don't touch that, Chloe yelled. Trigger recoiled. Poisonous? Chloe chuckled. No, it's valuable, used for energy. We could sell it for good money. Trigger raised an eyebrow. Planning to buy that Steel Series book? Chloe stiffened. What? No, he smirked. You're such a lewd brat, pretending to be innocent, huh? Her face flushed. How did you know? Trigger laughed. So the book is like that, huh? Stop teasing me, she groaned, covering her cheeks. All right, he said, still grinning. You just want to live peacefully, collect herbs, and live simply, right? Chloe nodded, though her heart felt uncertain. Then Trigger suddenly turned serious. After the ceremony, will you marry me? Chloe froze. I told you, I've never had feelings for a woman. But as the second son, I'm not pressured to have kids. I won't be scolded if I marry you, and at least I won't have to fake marrying someone else. She said nothing, trying to make sense of his words. You wouldn't be sold anymore. You'd get land, a stable life, freedom. She knew he was right. No matter how kindly Jorge treated her, she was still a slave. They could sell her off at any time. Trigger's offer was a lifeline. Still, her mind drifted to the Archduke and their kiss. Why am I thinking about him now? He'll marry someone proper, right? Trigger saw her hesitation and softened. You don't have to answer now. After a long pause, Chloe said, I accept. Trigger's eyes widened. So after the ceremony? I'll inform the vice captain. If he doesn't approve, I'll go to Aaron, Trigger replied, smiling. Chloe looked at him earnestly. There's something else you should know. Trigger tilted his head. I've only been a princess for 2 years. Before that, I was a slave in Elpasa for 23 years. His eyes widened. Wait, are you 25? Is that bad? She asked, flinching. Damn, I just proposed to a woman 6 years older than me, he muttered. Chloe looked at him softly. I don't have golden hair or noble blood, but maybe this is fate. Trigger took her hand. Then let's live freely, just you and me. Yes, Chloe thought. This might be my last chance to truly live. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the recap, don't forget to like and subscribe for more episodes. See you in the next one.